Taurus and Rose people, because I don't think you can really see them, but on that arch there, and there's two others, 1, 2 here. All the roses are blooming. They're going up all the trees here. Anyway, I've laid your cards. It's very early in the morning here, so I hope you can hear the bird song. I didn't check on the previous reading. Anyway, it's very important to me because I think those sounds are really important. I've got a new microphone, so this is it. I've laid your cards, and it's a really big time, I think, Rose and Taurus people, because there's lots of majors turning up in your inner being, in the basis of the reading, your attitude, your environment. I can see big themes, so it might feel like quite a big time for you, and I think what it's about is a rebirth and moving through that sticky part of the beginning of a rebirth where you feel a little bit unsure, victimised, not victimised, well, there is a shade of that. Insecure, I think, is the reality. Insecure and not quite in your kind of Taurian strength yet. Although we have cards turning up to say that it's fully online, it's just that you're kind of securing something after this time of rebirth, and that you're needing to kind of find your way to a positive attitude again. It's not that you're so negative, but it's just not quite secure enough. Anyway, let's dive in, if that sounds like it's for you. So you, in the basis of the reading, internally, the Death card. So let's see what we can particularly see about this today. I'm seeing the little crosses in the background underneath the feet of in that yellow field by the trees. So that for me feels like you're sort of dwelling on a passing of something, that you're, I think of being at a graveside, you're sort of looking backwards, you're remembering your ancestors, you're remembering what has been. It's interesting, there is a sun coming up in this, a bit like the dawn that I've just watched. I wonder whether you can still see. It's so difficult to see on the screen because I've made it so smeary. Is it up? Where is that sun? Anyway, I'm going to risk this all destabilising. I think it's... Oh, it's there. It's behind the leaves. Anyway, there is a dawn coming, and of course there always is a dawn coming after a rebirth, after a death, because it means rebirth. I'm seeing the eye of the horse that looks quite sort of spectral and unreal. It's got a strange, slightly unreal look, like he's seeing something in another realm. And the crown of the king that's knocked off, and he's lying quite peacefully. So maybe in this moment of death, it feels a little bit surreal, because this is quite a surreal scene, and I'm seeing the eye of the horse. It feels surreal. You're looking back as you're at that graveside, feeling about what you've lost, what you've moved on from, and worrying about status somehow because of that king and his crown. It's difficult when we start something new. We're always at that beginner phase, and it feels, I'm really sorry if you have lost somebody, a pet or a person or a job. It could be a proper loss of a person that you love, a friend, or it could be a position. I'm really sorry if you are going through that, and there's no sort of speeding up the process, and there's no, grief is a toughie. But if it's, and then coming out into that, you are reborn when you lose somebody significant from your life. I lost my dog last year, and you have to learn who you are without that being, in my case, my beautiful companion that I loved so much. I have to relearn that. and that was difficult. And so what it makes you feel initially on the outside and how it makes you act is the Five of Pentacles. And I really relate to that. Ow. I really relate to that. I went straight into that mode, to be honest. I extrapolated from that loss out into the world. I felt stripped bare and wasn't able to perceive the resources that I had, and that's what we say about this card. They need to look up and see that the church is just there and they can get out of this cold. But you know, it's very difficult once the mindset has set and you feel vulnerable to start to look in the right directions. What can I see here? The bell on his jacket, the blue and the yellow bandages on his feet. You know, you're feeling, that's how I feel at the moment actually. I've got a bad hip and a bad ankle, and I've actually started using a crutch recently just to try and take and a stick. I've got that here, to try and take the weight off. So I know what that feels like as well, because I think that's part of the process, and that's why I'm saying it, is that, you know, when I came through the airport recently with that, you know, everybody looks at you in a way that is, oh, poor her, or I mean, to be honest, it shows how kind people are. People are incredibly kind, particularly on my journey. All the women, a woman with a baby, a young not baby, a 5-year-old, I would say. She got all the way down to the bottom of the steps at the tube station in London, and she said, no, I'm going to carry your bag up. I was going on my way to the airport. She carried my bag all the way up with her child. She'd already almost emerged from the station. She went all the way back up to the platform, and I thought, God, what kind. And, you know, the woman I sat next to on the plane was like, can I help you at all with anything when you get off the plane? So there's a lovely thing about how it shows you when you're in these vulnerable moments, how kind people can be. But there is also that being perceived in that victim-y way of, oh, poor her, she can't walk, can leave you then relating to that external image of yourself and feeling a bit sorry for yourself. I had moments of that when I carry my stick around. I don't like to associate with that side of myself particularly. I want to feel in full power. So when I see it reflected back, and maybe there's an element of that with you, that something is over and you're getting a lot of, oh, poor you energy. Rose, Taurus people, oh, it's this bird flying across, they're flying low over this grass, it's so beautiful. And that might not be feeling so good, and it's making you act very vulnerable and victim-like, and only being able to perceive in a way what's missing, which is not going to be good. But that's okay, because we've got some lovely cards coming up. In the basis of the reading, we've got the Sun and the Hermit. And I love this because rather than just the peeping of the dawn in the Death card, now we've got the Sun fully up in full optimism manifesting mode. And that's what you're on the search for with your Hermit. That is exactly what you're looking for. You're on this epic quest of this rebirth, whatever that means to you. And you've got just the star to lead you, but where it's leading you to is to the daylight, to this incredible manifesting power, this optimism. So that's absolutely beautiful. And again, these majors, these big themes, and it's very worthwhile, this quest. What can I see particularly in them? In the sun today, the face of the sun staring right at me, looking so sort of serene and knowing in a way. And then actually look at the face of the kid who's naked, so covering his body, riding away from that wall of past hurts, so happy, deliriously happy, open-armed. Oh, and now we have the horse. The eye of the horse now is looking really compassionate and engaged with us, rather than that kind of strange, disconnected look of the horse. The white horse, again, in the Death card, has that sort of strange, disconnected, slightly sort of trance-like eye. And now the eye is being able to engage again, being back in life, being enthusiastic, full of hope. That's the path that you're trying to get on. And with the Hermit, how bowed his head is, how sad he looks in a way. He's so interior. You know, he looks very much as if he's in his own mind. He's not looking at anything other than one foot after the other. And that's often after how we feel in a rebirth, sort of after a moment of metaphorical or real death in our life. You can only just about do one thing after the other. Everything slows down, becomes quite surreal, and we have to rebuild our path. But you're going somewhere so beautiful with this, so optimistic. I love it. In the recent past, actually two quite jolly cards, the Knight of Cups and the Queen of Cups. I'm getting this crazy high-pitched sound. I've got this new microphone on, and usually the high-pitched sound means that I'm connecting intuitively. I don't know what I feel about this new microphone. I'll have to listen to because I'm hoping, it's particularly in this ear. I mean, it probably is just that I haven't sat down for a while to do any of these readings. Life's been quite busy, and maybe this is just connecting me to that intuition. How does this relate to you? Well, in the Death card, there's this trumpet thing that the child holds onto that looks like a kind of inner ear bone, I always think. So maybe that's why I'm focusing in on it. Hearing your way to a new reality. And I heard somebody say the other day that, it must have been on Instagram or something. Where did I hear that? That Lawrence van der Post lived with the tribesmen in the Kalahari. Someone was telling this little précis of a story, and he said that when he first started working with them, they all asked, when he said he couldn't hear the stars and the planets, they all thought that he was joking to start with, and when they realised that he genuinely couldn't, they thought there must be something really broken about him. I love that idea, hearing the stars and the planets. And I can definitely, and you might be the same kind of person because I'm bringing it up, I can definitely hear energy lines and sort of energy in places, and when you're connecting to your intuition. So maybe that's part of how you're going to sense your way there, is through this extrasensory perception. I love the idea of hearing starlight or planets when we've got the hermit there going by the light of his star. So sometimes it might be that you can't see at all and you just have to use this extrasensory perception. And in the recent past, we see you using your intuition in the Queen of Cups, Queen of Wands, and with the Knight of Cups. It's lovely energy, actually. It's optimistic because she's got that sunflower, which is all over the cards of the sun as well. So I think maybe recently you've connected to this idea of what you need to do is offer the world some of your optimism again, that you need to have actions that are optimistic, and that there's been this moment where you've connected to that, and that's set you off on this path to your new rebirth. What else can I see in the Knight of Cups? Again, the eye of the horse. This white horse, this mythical white horse. Now he is looking where he's going because he's seeing this river coming up. He's not looking directly at you like the horse does in the sun, and he's not quite in that kind of fug state, or what do you call it, sort of altered mind state of the death horse. He's really thinking about where he's going. So maybe that is what it is. You've been thinking about, where am I going? I want to use my intuition. I want to be optimistic. I want to start creating. I need to get back on this path. As a potential outcome, we've got you turning up as the Page of Cups. So again, a bit like the Knight offering this Grail cup. It will be a young feeling energy at this stage. This is based on this kind of epic rebirth that you're going through. Oh, my hip, sorry. And so this potential outcome is informed by your internal, your external world, what's at the basis of the reading and what's been happening immediately around you. And then we're going to add in your attitude and your environment, and it brings us to a different reality. But you are reconnecting with a new reborn part of you, and you are reconnecting to this idea of offering love and being connected to your intuition here, with the lotuses on the tunic, and the imagination with that fish. So it's lovely, a new fresh start coming up in the near future. The reason I was talking about the microphone, by the way, is that these are magnetic. Yeah, and I've got this over my heart side. I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm liking it in my energy field, but maybe I'm imagining that, because I can get a bit imaginative once I've decided something. But maybe that's got something to do with you as well, having something interfering with your force field somehow. They have a magnetic charge, they are Bluetooth. I don't know if I want that around me. We have to go back possibly to the old style, but anyway, we'll carry on. In the near future, you walking away from what you've loved, reinventing it somewhat, or really walking away and having a rebirth, which it could be in this case, because you've got the death card here as well. So having to start anew again. This could be a job or a new love, because we've got the Eight of Cups that you're having to go in search of. He's very similar, isn't he, to the Hermit, you know, the staff and the bent head, but unlike the Hermit, he's got his red jacket, his red cloak on, which shows a bit more of the kind of passionate energy that you're kind of re-bringing into your new start. I'm looking at how those 3 cups are kind of precariously, although not that precariously, but they're not quite secure enough yet, that idea of community with the 3 of Cups, because they're on top of the others, the 5 cups below them, and they're sort of a little bit precarious. So you're probably looking for your community when I see that. And celebration and some beginning, that tripod, the 3, the beginning of a new stable situation. Your attitude is lovely. We've got you turning up as the Strength card. So your attitude is that you can cope with these uncomfortable feelings of this new start, that you're able to engage with them and win over, because this is the female alchemist. I'm looking at his tongue and his eye, all these wild eyes, but looking right at her and looking at her like she's the dentist or whatever, saying, I need to follow your lead. I need to follow your inner wisdom, your inner alchemist, in order to get through this time. But it's strong, it's wonderful. The 8. The 8 that precedes the 9. Yeah, interesting. And then here we've got the 12, the Hangman. This is in your environment. Having to see everything new. Everything feels upside down probably in your environment. It feels new. That's what happens again after a loss when we're being reborn. So it probably feels very unfamiliar, but in relating to your environment, you will gain some sort of enlightenment, because you're moving into this new phase. His head, oh, it's so beautiful. Wow, I've never really looked at his face and his head and that sun behind him. I'm turning it the wrong way up to look at him. Look at how beautiful that face is. And the sun. I've really never looked at him like that before. He looks so beautiful, that fiery hair above him and the sun behind him. It's saying to me that the sun is still very much part of this reading, that the optimism, the rebirth is still there, and that you have to keep perceiving that in your environment. That's what you're on the lookout for, this rebirth, this daytime energy, this glorious optimism. So that's lovely. In your hopes and fears, yeah, the 10 of Cups, what a great aim. You want a happy family. You know, maybe this is about love. Maybe you've recently had to let go of a relationship or some idea, or I don't know, something to do with family or love, because that's what you're looking for here, the perfect balance. This sense of all parts being looked after, everything in its right place, very kind of well composed, everybody's counterbalancing each other, the children pulling away but being able to dance and swing around, and the couple with their arms up, counting their blessings. I think that's where you want to be. You want to be, so there's a 10, that's your hopes and fears. You want to be in this grateful state where it's all leading. Initially, we got the 3 of Swords, which is an absence, delay and separation. That you're still on your path, that this isn't a kind of, oh, and then it's all sorted kind of moment for you. But that is just an absence, delay and separation, because when I clarified it, we got this other beautiful 10, the 10 of Pentacles. Securely in your new world with all parts being taken care of, a great sense of security and stability and rootedness. So this is so beautiful. So that's where you're headed. This is really, really a lovely reading, and it's a beautiful time of rebirth. I've got some other cards. I'm going to pull you some extra comments here. What have we got here? Yeah, the Magus. So you've got the female magician and now the magician turning up. We call her the female magician because she has that infinity symbol that he's holding there, or well, it's actually a female magician there as well, funnily enough, above the head. So the Magus is obviously often depicted as a man. But here the female, so it's highlighting that your attitude is really important to me. It's saying don't forget that you've got everything you need, because that's what the magician has. He's got each one of the suits, in this case hanging above him, the wand, the sword, the pentacle and the cup. But he's also got incredible intuition. It's interesting that I said intuition. That will be true of you. But intention and focus on where he wants to go. He knows what he wants. So this is really important. You need to stay connected to that. And it's very punchy, optimistic, generative energy. So it's lovely. And then in the La Tour, the High Priestess. Yeah, there's your intuition. I just said you've got great intuition. Yes, you have got great intuition. This is the card of intuition. It sort of pairs very well with the Hermit in the basis of this reading. This is and the Queen of Wands in the recent past. This is going to be a really important part of your journey, is connecting really strongly with slightly sort of magical magician / intuition energies, which I think is so beautiful. You're really being reborn in quite a powerful way. This is the Shining Tribe Tarot. And this is just, that's funny, it's just landed. It's managed to get itself under the Ten of Pentacles, in between the Ten of Pentacles and the Three of Swords. Wow. And it's the Three of Rivers. Wow. That must be the Three of Cups. Do you remember I said, that's so beautiful? And it managed to get, I mean, it was weird. It threw itself and it landed upside down like that between those two in your outcome. So that's what it's wanting to comment on. And do you remember I said in the recent future, those three cups at the top of the wall of cups look a little bit precarious to me. Well, here come your Three of Cups, Three of Rivers, your community. That is what's going to stop the absence, delay and separation and bring you to that Ten of Pentacles, is a sense of your community. Rely on them, look for them. The Three of Cups is a card of celebration. I don't know, kind of want to read the book, but we'll go with our intuition because it's sitting under this tripod at the moment, getting it at the right height. We've got a fruit, a pomegranate, a date tree or a big palm tree, and then the symbol, the Celtic symbol of the kind of infinity, renewal, mysteries, coming out of, so I think it's connecting you to all the abundance of your community. I love that. And then what is that bit at the end? Can we dare upset the setup? I might have to just, because that's such a sort of particularly punchy. Is that going to ruin it? No, it's all right. Just got a slightly different view. That's fine. Let's have a look at this. Three of Rivers. Oh, and I opened it literally on the page behind it. That's incredible. On the page of it. On the divinatory meaning. That's so strange. Harmony, friendship, love, both romantic and spiritual. People who in some way join their lifeblood. Very deep bonds between people. Recognition of the mystery of an inordinary experience. This card represents any situation in which people share deep emotion and act in harmony. It recalls ancient cultural practices of sharing blood to acknowledge deep bonds. If the card appears in a reading to lovers or two people in any close relationship, then the two outer streams signify the two people, and the middle stream, the presence of the third, the divine energy they've created together. And many times I've seen this card in readings where we're preparing for ritual. It calls forth the ritual's inner being and power. So inner beauty and power. So maybe you want to do that. So yeah, we've got the spiral signifies this triple goddess in that one triangle. The moon's three. On the left we see, and the moon's three phases. On the right we see the pomegranate, symbolising the lifeblood of menstruation and birth. And then, so each triangle contains a goddess symbol from different. On the top we see the geometric form that symbolises the vulva. That's interesting. Opening. This image was common in the Stone Age. It's also, you see it in the Sheela gig, which I've seen recently in one of my favourite churches again. So that's interesting, the idea of the Sheela gig being a goddess, because when it gets put through the idea of Christianity, people don't talk about that. They talk about sort of ancient pagan rites, but the goddess turning up on a church, and that's pretty cool. So basically 3 forms of the goddess. I love that. And then right at the end it says, at the top we find a labyrinth, an image of the path inwards to spiritual knowledge. The labyrinth is green and red, the colours of life. This is your way back to life through community, but also I think through the idea of the goddess, if that relates to anybody in particular, because the way that landed was so particular. So to take you from any absence, you need to connect to a sense of the goddess, community, females in your life. I'm pulling you the sun again. I'm pulling you a charm. The sun is everywhere. This optimism is everywhere. Look at that. That is what you're headed to in this point of rebirth. Don't forget that beautiful sun. That is what you're headed to. I absolutely love this reading for you. We've still got a couple of other cards that I'm going to pull. We've got a mystical moments and then an enchanted forest. But this is a really beautiful reading. Queen of Pentacles, lovely. You being valued, you in your secure garden, you reborn. And look, it's got our rose. Well, it could be a peony, but I'm seeing it as a rose. She's got her flowers. She's so happy, she's so fertile, she's so appreciative. Her hair is ferns. Isn't that gorgeous? This is where you're headed. This enormously secure, beautiful, rooted, highly valued feminine energy. Now, as it's Taurus as well, she's very Taurian, so I sort of feel, and it had a rose on it, I feel what it's saying to me is, because she is my Taurus card, I think it's saying you're going back to being you at your best, which is just beautiful. And then we've got the 9 of Spells. 9 of Spells. What's that? I'm going to have to move you again. So it's someone using their magical ability. Look at all the eyes. I don't know whether you can see that, but because I've been seeing those eyes everywhere in the horses. Can you see those in the background coming out of the gloaming? And so those eyes that in various different states, I'm going to swap these books out because I want to get the little book for this. Those eyes in various states, sometimes looking kind of spooky in the death card, sometimes looking right at you, sometimes looking at its feet. They are making her create a spell. Let's see which one of the 9s this is. Mastery of inner gifts, mature power, defense against the dark. I think this must be the 9 of Swords. So we've got the 9 of Boons, which is the 9 of Cups, 9 of Challenges. No, I tell you what it is, it's the 9 of Wands. Of course, spells, wands. So in the Rider-Waite, that's that card where there's a fence being built against, the wounded healer learning it's through his defensiveness. God, the mosquitoes are out already. But I like this take on it. The witch doesn't need a wand or any kind of tool to cast her circle. Her magic is within her. That's something you would be learning through that in your recent past. So, mastery of inner gifts, mature power, defense against the dark. Witches have no fear in the nighttime forest. That doesn't mean there's nothing to fear there, all those eyes. Wild beasts and creatures, both earthly and unearthly, roam the woods at night. Nevertheless, this witch has come to her sacred spot to perform a spell at the dark of the moon. Shining eyes and vague shapes move in the shadows. Maybe they are harmless, maybe not. They could even be other witches intent on menacing her. It wouldn't be the first time. She draws a protective circle of light around herself, which keeps any dangers at bay. Within this warding circle, she can summon all her powers to take command of this situation. Well, there you go. It's reminding us again. Oh, that fell out as well. The spiral of life. That's interesting. So you're at this point where you're moving life forward. But what I was reaching for was these two magicians. So you have everything you need to accomplish your intention, like that magician, like the female magician. Your skills, the experience, the maturity, and most important of all, the will to make it happen. That is the most important thing. No one can stand in the way of your success now. Mark out your territory. It's time to bring forth your full potential of your power. Maybe this is what this reading is all about. Your full potential of your power. I just love this, Taurus and Rose people. It's really, really beautiful. Please remember and stay connected in this slightly insecure time to how powerful you are. Get your intuition and your intention sorted. It's funny, I keep meaning to say intention, and intuition comes out instead. So that's really important, but so is your intention. The will. Go to where you need to be. You've got this. This is incredible. Very intuitive, very magical energy, a really, really optimistic restart. See you again.